The Garden, From Frog and Toad Together, by Arnold Lobel. Essential question. What grows in a garden?
Frog was in his garden. Toad came walking by. "What a fine garden you have, Frog," he said. "Yes," said Frog, "it is very nice, but it was hard work." "I wish I had a garden," said Toad. "Here are some flower seeds. Plant them in the ground," said Frog, "and soon you will have a garden." "How soon?" asked Toad. "Quite soon," said Frog. Toad ran home. He planted the flower seeds. "Now, seeds," said Toad, "start growing." Toad walked up and down a few times. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad put his head close to the ground and said loudly, "Now, seeds, start growing." Toad looked at the ground again. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad put his head very close to the ground and shouted, "Now, seeds, start growing." Frog came running up the path. "What is all this noise?" he asked. "My seeds will not grow," said Toad. "You are shouting too much," said Frog. "These poor seeds are afraid to grow." "My seeds are afraid to grow?" asked Toad. "Of course," said Frog. "Leave them alone for a few days. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them. Soon your seeds will start to grow." That night, Toad looked out of his window. "Drat," said Toad, "my seeds have not started to grow. They must be afraid of the dark." Toad went out to his garden with some candles. "I will read the seeds a story," said Toad. "Then they will not be afraid." Toad read a long story to his seeds. Analyze the text. Story structure. What is Toad's problem? How is he trying to solve it? Songs to his seeds. And all the next day Toad read poems to his seeds. And all the next day Toad played music for his seeds. Toad looked at the ground. The seeds still did not start to grow. "What shall I do?" cried Toad. "These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world." Then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. "Toad, Toad, wake up," said Frog. "Look at your garden." Toad looked at his garden. Little green plants were coming up out of the ground. "At last," shouted Toad, "my seeds have stopped being afraid to grow." "And now you will have a nice garden, too," said Frog. "Yes," said Toad, "but you were right, Frog. It was very hard work."
Be a reading detective. Read together. Dig deeper. Use clues to analyze the text. Use these pages to learn about story structure and repetition. Then read The Garden again. Story structure. Frog and Toad are the characters in The Garden. What kind of place is the setting of this story? Does the story happen during the day, at night, or both? Think about the problem Toad has and how it is solved. Use a story map to write text evidence about the characters, setting, and important events. Characters, setting, plot. Repetition. Authors sometimes use the same words or same kind of event over and over in a story. This is called repetition. This can make the story fun to read. It can also help you understand what is important in the story. Look at page 24. What does Toad do over and over? Why do you think the author uses the words all the next day more than once? Read together. Your turn. Return to the essential question. Turn and talk. What grows in a garden? Talk with a small group. Then talk about the problem Toad has when he tries to grow his garden. How is it solved? Use details from text evidence to explain your ideas and feelings clearly. Classroom conversation. Talk about these questions with your class. 1. Describe what Toad does to get his seeds to grow. What really makes them grow? 2. How does Frog help Toad? 3. What would you plant in a garden? How would you take care of the garden? Performance task. Write about reading. Response. Write a book report about the garden. Begin by telling the name of the story and what it is mainly about. Then tell what you like about it. Give reasons why. Tell what you don't like. Give reasons why. Writing tip. Be sure you write the word I with a capital letter.